podcast. This week is a very exciting episode because for the first time, we are introducing our new correspondent. He's a guy that was on episode 9. We had a really great time with him, but we are welcoming back former Oregon point guard and current pro. He's played on a few teams overseas, Casey Benson. How are you doing today, Casey?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to be back on, and looking forward to catching up and talking hoops with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It'll be a good time. Well, as you just heard, you heard Casey. You also heard my co-host John chime in there. Kendall is also here. How are you guys doing tonight, John, Kendall?
I'm doing really, really good. Casey, I'm really sorry that we've drug you down to the Y-ball starters level, or maybe you've just pulled us up. I'm not sure which one, but either way,
we'll go with the second one. You guys are rising.
One more and we'll have a starting lineup.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, finally.
All right. Well, we'll kind of start off, Casey. So we'll get to the story of how we got connected in a minute, but just so kind of our listeners know, first of all, I'll plug our last episode 9 that we had with Casey. If you listeners weren't able to catch that one, definitely go back and listen to that one. Casey tells us more of his basketball story. That's a good way to kind of get the ground level on him. But Casey, one thing we didn't touch on much in the last episode was what basketball you follow more. Do you keep more in touch with pros, college? What are you keeping up on these days?
Man, I'm a junkie, so I keep up with a little bit of everything. So definitely, obviously, the NBA for sure. And then now that I play in Europe, I follow a ton of European basketball, so the EuroLeague and different actually kind of leagues all throughout Europe, different countries. And just it's always fun to see where different guys are and just look at different leagues. And then also I'm still up to date with the college game too. My brother's a coach, so he was just at Gonzaga. Now he's recently took a job at the University of Arizona. So I kind of by default keep up with him more than anything. Obviously rooting him on, cheering him on, and obviously the Ducks always follow Oregon. But yeah, to have a brother obviously in the game, I definitely I'm a little bit invested in that as well. Yeah. So yeah, kind of every level. I'm like I said, I'm a junkie and I just love the game. So
for sure. And as I mentioned, Casey will be our correspondent, so he'll pop on once every 6 weeks, or I mean that's not a super consistent thing. Like not a hard and fast like every 6 weeks, like strike the gavel or anything. But we will have him on semi-regularly. Probably when we have some other guests, do some fun collab stuff like that. It'll be fun. John, Kendall, what are you guys kind of looking forward to with this collab?
Oh, go first, John.
Oh, sorry. We a little false start. I'm excited. Obviously having another insight, and obviously Casey, your insights way more vast than ours. And so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun just to hear your stories, and then I don't know, just another voice to another person to talk basketball to is always good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree. It's going to be fun just having your insight, having played a very high level of college hoops, and then your experience playing with so many different players overseas, and just your knowledge of everything basketball is going to be really fun. And it's fun for our podcast too. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really expecting to have a correspondent 15 episodes in when we started this out. So it's been kind of fun to see where it's taken off and have you on.
Absolutely.
I got kind of a question for you, Casey. What is the most exciting league that you follow that like no one follows, like that no one's heard of?
That's a good question.
Man, that's a great question. That no one follows, man.
Or at least that's just like underappreciated.
Yeah, I would say, there's really a lot of leagues in really, I mean, across the world. Man, that's a great question. I'm honestly the league that I was just in Slovenia, like obviously not many people would know about the league, but it really is good basketball. And it's a very small, obviously a lot of people would correlate that to that's where Luka Doncic is from. So, I mean, you see a guy like that and so, I mean, they really take basketball serious. They love it, so that's definitely one. I mean, just all throughout Europe, whether it's in Asia and South America, like I think that's what's kind of kind of the thing is really in and of itself, there's a lot of leagues everywhere. And so, I mean, places like Belgium and, you know, places that you might not necessarily think would have great basketball, they do. You know, Israel is another league that's very, very respected. And then in Europe, I mean, the places you might expect, Spain, obviously, Greece and Italy, and those places are very, very respected. But yeah, I'd say some of those smaller countries, like I said, Belgium and, you know, Israel is another great league. But yeah, no, that's a great question though.
How about for fans of the NBA and basketball in general, maybe even NCAA hoops? Were there any countries that you've been to where you were maybe surprised a little bit at, wow, they know their stuff here, they really follow it?
Yeah, you know, I would say oftentimes I'd say us as Americans, we think like in Europe they love soccer, which is very true. They do. You know, 100% soccer is huge in Europe, but you know, they love basketball, and I think, you know, the Euro League is a very, very high level, and you know, you see a lot of guys kind of going in and out. You know, if you play well in the Euro League, then that kind of sets you up for you know, a position in the NBA potentially. You know, you see different guys that kind of get that opportunity. You know, I think Mike James just signed with the Nets, so that's one just off the top of my head. Yeah, but he was just in Germany, or sorry, Germany. I'm sorry, Moscow, Russia. But yeah, so he was just signed, you know, to end the season in Brooklyn. So a guy like that. Another one, Facundo Campazzo from Denver, was with Real Madrid. So you see guys that obviously are very, very good players, and you know, so it's definitely, obviously, the European game is very respected.
Yeah, and you see a lot too. I mean, the NBA has been pushing for more games internationally as well, with their own product. I know that kind of wasn't the case because of COVID, obviously, but
Right.
in the future, we're going to see more games over there. Maybe the Euro League too. We see that. I don't know. Is it super televised over there in Europe?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very, no, it's a very big deal. Yeah, definitely. I mean, people, especially people that love basketball. I mean, the Euro League is very, it's big. People love it. You know, in a normal year, if you have fans, I mean, these fans love their teams. You know, I'd say what's different about I should say different parts of Europe. It's more in America. If you go to a game, it's kind of like, it can be a family event, you know, and you're kind of enjoying, like, I don't know if I would be comfortable bringing my kids to some of these European games. Like some of these teams, fans hate each other, and like they got to have one of my games. Actually, I'll give you a funny story. But one of my games in Bulgaria, it was us. So it was us and the other top team, and the fans hated each other. So they had like up and down. They had to have police officers and security guards separate the two fan sections. So, or else they would have fought. Like it was just like. Yeah, it was pretty crazy actually, but it makes a great atmosphere, you know.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. You have people, you know, blowing horns, banging on drums. You don't necessarily see that in America, so it's definitely a different feel, that's for sure. But it's fun. So
yeah, I believe that with the whole Super League split that they were.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know if you guys saw what some of the fans were doing, but like they were blocking off like bus entrances.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was crazy out there.
It's like, that is nuts. They are so passionate over there. Like it's
unbelievable.
Scary, but I really appreciate it at the same time.
No, it's pretty unbelievable. Like these fans literally, I mean, they live and die by it, you know.
Literally.
Yeah.
Would you say fans over there, I've been trying to think how to phrase this question, but when they are following, take for instance, the NBA, are they more passionate about the guys that come from Europe, or the really big American stars like the LeBrons and the Steph Currys and even the Dames of the world? Maybe exception Luka Doncic. That's probably a caveat in Slovenia, just because that's
No, I would say probably it depends on where you're at. Maybe it depends on the market, you know, or the demographic. But you know, I think obviously people know who these NBA guys are, but they love their local guys too. You know, I mean, I think they take pride and different guy, and being an American coming over to Europe, they definitely do really appreciate us though too. So like if I'm an American on the team, like they really welcome you in, and you're kind of like a hot commodity. Like you're not a local. So especially when like sometimes like I guess maybe they don't like, especially if, like I was in a small city, so it's like they don't really like a lot of people recognize like players and stuff, but when they don't recognize you, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like you might be an American. So it's pretty funny, like especially because the other American was a 7-footer on my team, so people would like look at him, like he's got 2 heads, and it's like, well, he's okay, gotta play basketball. So so it's pretty funny, but yeah, I would say, to answer your question though, yeah, I think that they it's a little bit of both. I think they love Americans, but they also love their local players.
For sure. Well, I would love to say that I just messaged Casey one day out of the blue, just totally cold turkey. And he's like, oh, I've been listening to you guys for months. Like, you guys are great. But
right, Casey?
Yeah, exactly.
But the way we got connected to Casey is actually pretty funny. And I'll kind of share my side of it here in a sec. But Casey, do you kind of want to share some background on that?
Yeah. So, I just finished my 3rd year overseas, and my first year I played in Slovenia, and I got there, was there or whatever, and I was looking for churches in the area that I lived in, and just kind of came across a missions organization that had American missionaries sent to Slovenia, and came across a couple that was near me, and turns out that it was your aunt and uncle.
Yes. Yep.
And so yeah, so anyways, I messaged there, I mean Johnny and Brooke. Yeah, so I messaged them. We ended up getting like a lemonade or a coffee or whatever the next day, and kind of just really connected instantly, and I found myself hanging out at their house probably that, I don't know, within a few days.
That's how it goes.
And yeah, and kind of the rest is history. I think obviously being overseas, there's not as many Americans, so that was one thing. One thing that was really, I guess, comfort. A lot of comfort, and also too, obviously, my faith is a big part of, obviously, the most important part of my life. So, having other Christian believers there was really special for me. People that I could hang out with and just kind of just do life with and enjoy and spend time with was very important to me. So, yeah, then Johnny, your uncle, obviously, or he said that you were starting up a podcast, and here we are.
Yeah, right.
The rest is history.
Yeah, it's so funny. So the way I found out about it was actually not from my uncle. One day I would have been over here by now. I would have moved out to Eastern Washington by now.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents went out to Slovenia to visit. Obviously my uncle, that's his parents.
Mm-hmm.
They came out for, would it have been Christmas or Thanksgiving? Do you remember, Casey?
Christmas. It was Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they went out there for Christmas, and they came back, and my grandma texted me, and she was like, do you know the name Casey Benson? And I'm like the Oregon Casey Benson? Like the guy that's on the Final Four team? Like that one? And she's like, yeah. So like he was at Christmas with us, and like he's just such a nice guy. And I'm like, wait, what? Hold on. I want a few more details here. And so this was like 3 years ago. So like it was like when I went home for Christmas I guess it would have been New Year's by the time they were back, and I visited them. Like they just kind of like anecdotally told me like, oh yeah, he's been hanging out with Johnny and Brooke a lot, and he's like really cool guy. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Fast forward, what is it, 3.5 years later?
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting a podcast, and we're just brainstorming like, okay, we obviously can't necessarily just go get like Damian Lillard right away. Like, so we're trying to think of like, who are like some connections that we have. Okay. I went to Eastern Washington, and I covered the basketball team there. So we can use my connections through that, but we don't want to just hit Eastern. And like, there's a couple other random connections that I have that we might get to in a future episode. But then I was randomly like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I remember my uncle talking about and my grandma talking about, and they were with Casey Benson. So I texted my uncle and I was like, do you happen to keep in touch with Casey Benson still randomly? We're starting up this podcast. And my uncle's like, oh yeah, he lives in my basement. And so lo and behold, it all worked out, and here we are today.
How small of a world it is.
So crazy too.
That is, I mean, the fact too that it happened overseas as well, and we're just starting a podcast like that, like the chances of that is so random.
No, it's pretty
so
incredible.
Yeah. And even that you like went to school an hour and a half from where we grew up.
Right.
And it's
Right.
in Slovenia.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so wild, but
For sure. Yeah. Well, like we talked about, we're really excited for this collab, this correspondent, if I can pronounce things correctly. We'll just talk some hoops with Casey going forward, have him on for some fun guests in the future. We'll see what comes out of it, but it should be a good time. Elsewhere in the basketball world, as we all know, being to some level, I mean, we all are hoops junkies for sure, but some of us tend to know more about basketball than others. I won't name names, but it is the last week of the regular season in the NBA. We're coming down on the stretch run. Obviously, for fans who don't know, this year's a little interesting with they're doing a play-in tournament. So the top 6 teams in each conference still get into playoffs just free. They're seeded 1 through 6. But 7 through 10 go to a play-in tournament. The 7 and the 8 seed will play each other. The winner will get the 7 seed. The 9 and the 10 will play each other, loser out. And then loser of the 7-8 and winner of the 9-10 play for the 8th and final seed. And that's in the last week of the regular season. That's proving to show some really interesting matchups. I mean, as of right now, we might get the Lakers and the Warriors, which we would get LeBron and Steph, which would just be crazy. But
Unbelievable.
that would be amazing.
What do you guys think?
It's fun
of
to
this
watch.
play-in tournament? And what are obviously that's a huge one, but what are some of the potential matchups you see that could be fun?
Sorry, I'm pulling up the standings right now.
I hear you.
I mean, Celtics Wizards. I mean, we did get the news that Jaylen Brown is officially out for the season. But Celtics Wizards could still be pretty interesting. I mean, the Celtics are without Jaylen Brown, they may not be better than the Wizards, to be honest, which is kind of a weird statement to say.
I mean, they got more defense than the Wizards do for sure.
Yeah,
But
man.
they've not played consistently at all.
No, the Wizards looked pretty good today, and even without Beal, Westbrook has really come alive of late. I mean, obviously setting the triple-double record today, but they were saying that he's had like 9 of his last 11 games have been triple doubles, and like 22 of 26 have been, which is crazy. That's like his MVP season. That's
It's
absurd.
unreal. Yeah, it's like you don't even hear much about. I mean, you hear stuff about it, but it's not like
I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I just saw that, and it's. I mean, the dude is hooping to say the least, but it's like kind of just going under the radar.
Yeah. I learned all of those things today watching the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe because plays with Washington, so it's like. But even then, I mean, they have Bradley Beal. Like,
I know.
You would think they had a really bad start to the season, I guess, to be fair, but you would think they would get a little more media attention with that backcourt.
It's DC, it's not
Yeah.
like it's I don't know, Orlando or
Or like
not even
Oklahoma
Orlando.
City.
Yeah,
or-
like it's I mean, just the audience, I guess. But
And like obviously not complaining as a Portland fan, it's fun to see us getting national exposure, but it is a little weird that even Portland gets more national media attention. It's a little, I mean, Dame's gotten so huge.
yeah, that's true.
I would still expect the combination of Westbrook and Beal to maybe outweigh individual
Right.
Dame, but
Yeah,
it is interesting.
because Bill was having like the best year of his career early on, wasn't he? Or...
He was gunning for the scoring title, wasn't
Is
he?
he?
Yeah.
I think he's behind Steph now.
It's
Right?
been him and Steph who have been competing. I think that they've been going back and forth for scoring
Yeah.
title.
What are
Or
they at? Do you know?
They're at like 31 or 32, I think. Let me see.
Yeah, you guys, I'll look that up. You guys keep chatting, but
I saw
Yeah,
today there was beef between Bazemore and then Beal and Beal's wife. about the scoring title on Twitter.
Once again, we pull up the graphic.
Drama.
Once again, we pull up the graphic. The NBA has gone 0 days without being unnecessarily dramatic.
Yeah, why am I not
Oh,
surprised?
man.
My goodness.
They both sides called each other like losers, which is great.
How did Kent Bazemore get into it with Bradley Beal? That's very random.
Yeah, that
said
is
that
interesting.
people were pulling hamstrings to try and keep up with Steph on the scoring title race.
It's not a bad,
Which is
honestly, it's pretty insightful. I'm not gonna lie.
Is he wrong?
I don't.
Steph's averaging 31.9 points a game on
Yeah.
49% from the floor, 43 from the free throw or from 3-point line, and 92 from the free throw line.
That's
Unreal.
ridiculous.
Jeez.
What's
Yeah,
the
not
high?
Not even a 90.
Does Harden holds the record for the highest, or what did he get most recently? Like when
He
he
got
got
like
scoring.
What, like 36 one year, didn't he? And
He
like
was-
and not win MVP, right? Because that was
Was
one of the
that-
year Giannis won it.
Was-
I think.
Was that after Chris Paul left, right? Was it after Chris Paul left or no?
I think it was the. I can't remember now.
Did he?
Well, actually,
Well, no, it would have been with Chris Paul. Wait,
wait.
this
Last
doesn't
year,
make sense.
no,
Maybe it
last
was last year. Maybe it was last year.
well, last year was Chris
No, it
Paul.
wasn't last year.
Yeah,
Well, 'cause
Last year,
last year-
Chris Paul played in Oklahoma City. So last year he had Westbrook.
so it would
Was
have
it
been
the Westbrook year?
Oh,
It
yeah.
would have been with Chris Paul then, probably,
Yeah, it must have been
Weird.
because last year was Chris Paul's first year out, right?
Yeah.
If he only played
Yeah.
one year
Yeah.
in OKC.
I guess it
That's
would have
weird
been
to
with
think
Chris
of.
Paul. Was Chris Paul just there for how many years was Chris Paul then?
2.
2?
2, 3.
I don't think it was
I don't
3.
know.
I think
Did they lose in the conference finals just both years or just one?
They lost
at least-
one, I know.
Well,
They
'cause
lost
you
to
know
Golden
what?
State twice. I
Yeah.
don't know if they were both
You
conference
know
finals.
what?
though.
I went to the one where when they played Golden State. Wait, was that? I think it was the conference finals. I'm pretty certain they lost to Golden State. It was so that would have been 20.
18, 19?
Yes, that was 20.
Yes,
no, I'm
yeah.
sorry. It was the 2018. Goodness.
Maybe 17, 18.
It was the 2018 playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because 18, 19, Portland made the conference
That's right. Yeah, they
finals.
beat. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went when they played them in 2018, and that was the conference finals then.
Nice.
And
Yes.
and in Golden State. So yeah, and that was okay. That's why I was trying to like backtrack. But yeah, so I guess it just all runs together.
Especially
That was
after
a
COVID.
real
Time just
series.
is.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was such a good series between Houston and Golden State. I thought
Oh.
Houston had it. I thought Houston had that one, but
They
Dude, it
probably
was-
did until Chris Paul pulled his hamstring.
yeah,
Yeah. He got hurt, and somebody else got hurt, right?
Iguodala.
Oh, I think you're. Did Iguodala really get hurt?
yeah, Iguodala
I thought
was out.
Two guys from Houston got hurt though too. I thought somebody.
I think you're right. I think a defender got hurt too. Like I think it was.
I got you. All.
Because they won.
you.
Houston,
It's hurting my brain to be honest.
it was in Golden State, but Houston won the game that I was at. That was game 4, I think. So they tied the series. And then I think they went back to Houston and lost.
I think
I
Houston
think
had
they-
the 3-2 series.
Yeah, because I think they
lost 2-0.
won is when Chris Paul got hurt. Like they won
Right.
and Chris Paul got hurt.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
right. I'm sorry.
And then they
sorry.
lost 2 because they
I'm
lost
sorry.
game 7 at home.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, so they did lose in 7. It wasn't 6. It was
Yeah. This article does just debate what would it be like if Chris Paul and Iguodala didn't get hurt. So
Huh. So
Mm.
Iguodala
I
did
don't
get
know.
hurt. Weird.
Well, they might just be saying that because Chris Paul was the main player who got
yeah,
hurt for them. Maybe
maybe.
the role player
Yeah.
who got injured.
Yeah, I remember the game was the game that I went to was unreal. It was like Chris Paul and Harden, I think both had, I don't know, like 35 or something like, and Durant. It was just like it was unbelievable. Like Harden, I remember Harden in the first half had like, I don't know, he was just carrying Houston, and then Chris Paul did the same in the second half. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Those guys are just so good.
Chris Paul, Chris Paul's just amazing. What he's been able to do on Houston, what he's been able to do when he was on Oklahoma City last year, and then Phoenix this year. He is incredible. I'm kind of rooting for him to get a championship, and I never thought I would say that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I know. I used to hate Chris Paul so much when he was
with the Clippers years were rough.
Now he's like one of my favorite players in the NBA. It's so cool to watch. Like the way he's turning around each and every. I've always wanted to see someone just go from bad team to bad team and save them. But there's never been someone good enough to do that until now. Chris Paul can do. No, and I guess like Phoenix is not a bad team without him. They're just like a low, like they're like in the middle. But I mean, he's pulled them up to the 1 seed. Like this is crazy.
I'm biased, but I would love to see him get a championship with Phoenix.
Yeah, looking back on it, a lot of our basketball dislikes are just so jaded by who Portland played in the playoffs when we were like immature high schoolers, to be honest. 100%. Like we played Houston, we played James Harden, so we all hate James Harden. We played the Clippers when they had Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, so we all like hated Chris Paul for a few years.
And Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin still kind of annoys me, to be honest.
I still can't. Yeah,
he's kind of annoying.
But and then
or Westbrook.
I still have some holdover disdain for Westbrook and Paul George for sure.
I like Westbrook. I like Westbrook now. Paul George. Oh, no,
I can't stand Paul George.
No. Yeah, it's no for me, dog.
That one's still extended to the bubble, where like the game with the Clippers, where Dame actually missed those clutch free throws. That was kind of an awesome back and forth, though. Like Beverly and George.
Yeah.
You know, like 1, 2, 3 Cancun or whatever, and then Dame was like.
They're just mad because
called them chumps and was like, I sent them both home. Playoffs, like that's why they're mad.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, looking at the standings, Blazers Clippers series is very, very possible, if not probable, if Portland can hang on to the 6th seed, which would
be great to see.
Dame and Paul George again with the annoying little Pat Beverly as the side storyline there,
and playoff Rondo.
Yeah, it sucks.
Ooh. It's crazy how Rondo's still doing it.
I don't understand. Like last year's bubble playoffs was unbelievable. Like I think there was a stretch it was one of the games they were playing Denver where he had a steal in like 4 consecutive possessions, like just poking the ball away from the ball handler.
Arms are
it was
so
absurd.
Well, he's got the longest arms.
He learned how to shoot threes too. Like he was just
what? Yeah, like if he's hitting threes, dude, man, if he could have done that his whole career, my goodness.
Oh man. He would have been crazy on Boston.
Yeah. I mean, he was still obviously really good.
Yeah.
Like, no. I don't mean to say it like but like he just it would have been.
It would have been absolute insane. They would have been like the Durant Warriors, like
right,
and like they were already almost there, but like that would have pushed them over the top
right.
for sure.
For sure.
I have said before that I think my favorite players of all time to watch in their prime, not including Blazers, would be Rondo, Klay Thompson, and LeBron. Like those are my favorite guys to watch. They're just amazing.
It's been a bummer watching Clay get hurt over the past.
That has been.
I think that they would have won the championship against Toronto had he not gotten hurt. He was carrying that team.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was having a game 6 Clay game. He had like 30 in that game, I think.
Do you guys agree? This is kind of pivoting a little bit. Do you guys right now Jokic is kind of the front runner for MVP right now? Do you guys agree with that? Like it seems like it's becoming fit. Like people are starting to become kind of like I guess convinced that that's going to be the guy. But I think there's a few other guys you have to still throw in there personally.
Yeah, I think you could should throw Chris Paul in.
Yeah.
Embiid
Jokic
too,
is pretty. Embiid. Jokic is pretty. He's pretty ridiculous, though.
He's amazing.
He's one of those guys that's kind of in that list that Drew said for me, where it's just like I watch him and it's like, how on earth did you do that?
Yeah,
like every play is so crazy.
He makes the game look so simple.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And he's always
so
making the right play.
Yeah.
Like he's 7'2", and he's just so skilled. It's unbelievable.
His passing is incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
And the fact that he's doing it with the so injured has been like they don't have Will Barton, Monte Morris, and then Jamal Murray's out for the year, and they're
Yeah.
still they're on a little bit of a rough patch right now. But it's like you're just crazy.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. One disdain I definitely have with the NBA is the fact, I mean, the NBA is not the only league that does this, but the fact that they announced they announced the MVP after the regular season does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
say Milwaukee wins the championship, I would probably say, okay, that probably means Giannis is MVP.
Sure.
But even if LeBron were to come back and the Lakers make a run and win the championship, could you argue that, like, man, they were the sevens, like, probably would have missed the playoffs if he had missed the whole season.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
they won the championship with him. Do you make the argument for LeBron there? I would like it to be after the playoffs, I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's a good point.
Because I mean, like the MVP realistically is leading his team to a championship,
Yeah.
Right.
or at least that's what you would deem an MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Overall, it's more
Sure.
than just the regular season. But yeah, Drew, I think I agree that Jokic probably wins MVP. I think you got to throw in guys like Dame, Chris Paul, and Embiid, just for like the respect of the seasons they have. They've all had incredible seasons, and I think they deserve some recognition for that. But it's really hard to give it to one of those guys over Jokic. I mean, Embiid would be the only one just because they're first in the East at the moment.
Yeah.
But man, Jokic has had to do so much, and he's had an absolutely crazy season.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Another guy to throw in there is Steph. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100% Steph. Yeah, Steph
Yeah.
should be in there too.
I mean, the whole body of, I mean, he's obviously been amazing this whole season. But since the All-Star break, it has been, we've never seen anything like this. What he's done the last month and a half or whatever. It's
unreal.
I'll have to fact check myself on this, but I believe he has more games with 10 plus 3-pointers this year than anyone has in their career. Anyone that's not him in their career.
I'll look.
I know he's like, his like number is like 18 or something, and like the next highest is like 6, which is absolute insanity. That highest is like Harden or Dame, I'm pretty sure.
You are correct, John. As of April 20th, he had 6 games this season with 10 plus threes in a game. No other player has had more than 5 in their career, and that is Klay Thompson.
Oh, and he's had more since then too.
Jeez,
he's crazy. He's another dude where like you just watch him make plays, and you're like, how on earth did you make that? Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, keeping on the NBA tangent, for the Blazer fans out there, there's no way this is updating. I'll get a score in a second, but we'll go on our little weekly segments. Someday they'll be called annual segments once we've been doing this for a year or whatever. But I think it's time, John. Where are they now?
All right. This week on Where Are They Now, we're doing a little bit of a Blazers legend, the ultimate role player, big man in the middle, the vanilla gorilla, Joel Prisbilla, baby. So Joel, for those of you that don't know, played for Portland for like 5 years or so, 6-7 years, from 2004 to 2011. He was kind of just a role player, bench big. He was pretty good. Averaged for his career like 6 rebounds a game, like 5 points. So now we're gonna try and see where he is now.
Where is he now, John? This
Where
is
is
the
he now,
question.
John? We'd all like to know.
Well, he's the third of 4 children of his father, Doug, an American Express employee. He's of Polish descent, and he has 2 sons, Anthony and Jaden, spelled with a Y. Very cool. He ended his career with Milwaukee. Oh, he left. I forgot he came back to Portland. That's crazy. He officially retired in 2014 after sitting out an entire season because he wasn't signed. Nice. Unfortunately, the personal section of Wikipedia has no information other than what his dad's name is. So it appears that is where are they now?
Maybe he's hanging out with his dad. I don't know.
Once again, I think we need to change the segment to where are they from.
Oh, can you guys guess how much, just in NBA salary, how much Joel Przybilla made in his NBA career?
Ooh.
I'd rather not.
Just ballpark it.
How many years did he play in the league?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 13, and he never made more than 7 million in one season.
Oh man, I
So
guess
7 times 13.
He never made more. That was the most.
Okay.
It's usually considerably less.
I'd say 40.
Very close. 44.7.
Okay.
Sorry, I cut you off, Kendall. I probably should have let you answer, but you were off by more.
Was he the one that slipped and fell in the shower and tore something?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't think so.
Right.
I feel like I would remember if Przybilla did.
Is he on Instagram, John? Do you mind checking that out for us real quick?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, John. It's no Von Wafer, but it was a very interesting one.
Von Wafer, the Blazer for 8 days?
8 games.
8 games.
8 games.
Hey, we guessed his number right, so we know something about Von.
You guessed one of his 8 numbers correct.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Kendall, do you want to run us through Blazer Killer while John looks up some more Joel Przybilla information for us?
Yeah. Actually, it was kind of a difficult Blazer Killer week just because the Blazers actually played really well this past week. So the best that I really got was Alex Caruso against the Lakers. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, played some excellent defense, honestly. Like, I know Dame got his, but Caruso was out there. He's grinding. He's one of those guys for a went from two-way contract all the way up, and now he's got a pretty solid role on the Lakers. So shout out Alex.
Yeah, good job to Alex. I would like to very quickly throw in a Blazer helper just from that game. We don't usually do this, but Kyle Kuzma in that game was very helpful.
Shout out Kyle Kuzma.
Was very helpful, going 2 of 11 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. That's 18% from the field, and his percentage was actually aided by a meaningless layup at the buzzer, and he did miss a wide open 3 to tie it. So, and Laker fans were absolutely shredding him in the comments, like, get Kuzma off the team.
Rough night.
Tough. It happens.
Yeah.
Any luck,
I feel like
John?
I've seen those comments about Kuzma.
I have found his Twitter that has been inactive since 2012. So it appears he's off social media.
Because Will is living a good life right now.
Apparently, he doesn't want anybody in the public eye to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Apparently,
We
a
will
little sus
never-
from Joel.
So now the millions of people who listen to this episode will be left to still wonder, where is Joel Przybilla now?
We
What's-
may never know.
We may never know. Well, hey, we've got a fun game to kind of, as our last segment today. This could take 20 minutes. It could take 5 minutes. It could take half an hour. I have no clue. But I'm sure you've all seen them if you're a basketball fan on Instagram. It's a build your team with $15. John sent us one. And I'm just going to real quick rattle off some names. We're guessing this is an older one because we got some guys that are on teams that, in the picture anyway, that aren't on teams now. But you're required to obviously do a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. So the $5 positions are
Before you start, Drew, are we
Yeah,
doing
sorry.
the player in their prime? Or are we just doing the player now?
Good question.
I think
Maybe
we should
since,
do now.
maybe now, since the last game we played, we did in prime. So kind of switch it
Cool.
up.
I like that.
So we have to get this player now. So the $5 ones, again, I'm going to guess this was 2018, 2019 when this
I
was
think so.
dropped. But still fairly recent and fairly accurate. So the $5 ones, you got Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. $4 will be Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Blake Griffin, and Nikola Jokic. $3 will be Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and Karl Anthony Towns. $2, you got Chris Paul, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Draymond Green, and Al Horford. And then $1, Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Jason Tatum, Pascal Siakam, and Mark Gasol. Does anyone have their team kind of off the bat ready to go, or
I do.
Do you guys need a sec? You want to go for it, Case?
So I've got at the point guard position, I got Dame. My shooting guard, I've got Harden. Small forward is Jason Tatum. Power forward is Siakam. And my center is Jokic.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah, right. Wait. Yeah, can you say it one more time, Casey? I need to put this in the chat so I don't pick any of your.
So I've got Dame, Harden, Jason Tatum, Siakam, and Jokic.
Wow, none of those are players I've written down yet. Incredible.
That's pretty crazy. It's always funny to see what everybody prioritizes.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Wait, are we having to pick different players than everybody then, or
Not necessarily.
I didn't care. I know.
Not necessarily.
I don't mind if you pick some of the same players.
Yeah, I have a couple. I have two the same as Casey. So I have same front court. I went with Siakam and Jokic, and then I went with Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, and Chris Paul.
Ooh, okay. I definitely went with a ball dominant lineup because Dame has to have the ball, Harden has to have the ball, Jason Tatum has to have the ball, and Jokic is just passing everybody. So Jokic is going to have 30 assists.
I feel like jury's still out on how good Siakam actually is.
Yeah, he's an energy guy for my squad.
Yeah, if he's the fifth guy with energy and defense, you really can't complain about that.
Right.
All right, I got my team. At the point, I have Chris Paul. At the 2, I have Klay Thompson. At the 3, I have Jimmy Butler. The 4, I have Draymond, and then the 5, I have Jokic.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going old school defense.
Yeah, some old school there. I think I've got Steph, Clay, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Jokic.
Okay. So do we all have Jokic?
I think we all had Jokic. Yeah.
I think we do. I think we
guess
all think Jokic is MVP, I guess.
I mean, you can make an argument for Embiid being in there too. It's just Jokic has been playing on just such. I mean, we were just discussing it on such a different level. It's hard to pick anybody over him.
Yeah.
I just think how well he passes. It's just like
it's incredible.
He really is like a center that's as a point guard in center's body. Like, just his skill level is unbelievable.
And like, I know people always, when he was younger, like talked about how his athleticism, like his lack of athleticism would catch up. But like, obviously, like he's athletic enough. Like, it's true. Good enough to work.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. And then he pulls guys out to the 3 because he can shoot it. So it's like those guys come out, to the 3-point line, and that's really, really impressive.
Crazy. And he's not even a terrible defender, to be honest. Like watching him on defense, like he's fine out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like miles ahead of where he was. And like, that's rare where they need him just to be like fine.
He seems so much older.
I know.
Yeah.
Like he just, you know what I mean? Like he's like he's like 25, 26. Like I think
crazy.
Pretty close.
I do need to ask, what was the logic, Drew and Casey, behind picking Siakam over Draymond Green? Or like, I get maybe not Giannis since you already have other guys who can go out and score, but what puts you guys having Siakam over Draymond?
Money.
I because I had
it's all
basically
money.
I went guard heavy, so or with my money, so I had Dame was 4, Harden was 5, so that was 9, and Jokic was 13 or another 4, so that was 3. So I had to go 2.
I think I We went over on accident. I'm gonna switch comments with Drake. I forgot that we were doing $15.
Kendall's cheating.
I think I'm gonna go with Steph, Harden, Durant, Giannis, and Embiid.
Right.
Is what I'm gonna go with.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go with Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Jason Tatum, Siakam, and Gasol.
Go for it.
Yeah, I definitely forgot that this was the $15 game, not the $50 game.
Kendall, once you make your weekly correction, do you want to put that in the chat? Maybe we can compare some matchups.
Yes. Give me one hot second while I
Sure.
redeem myself.
Johnny, able to put yours in the chat?
Oh, of course.
Kind of to answer your question a little more though, Kendall, I really wanted Clay, Kawhi, and Jokic, which put me up to $12. And then from there, Chris Paul was the easy pick. And then it was just Siakam was kind of left over, I guess, but he was good enough to where
Right.
I didn't feel like I had to switch it.
Right. I think for Jason Tatum being a $1, I was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
You
steal.
You did
Yeah.
that. I just really want Kawhi's defense to kind of
Yeah, that's true.
down.
Yeah, and I just really wanted Jimmy, but Jason Tatum's definitely number 2.
I'll kind
Yeah,
of compare some matchups while we wait for Kendall to put him up. Actually, it will be kind of fun if we kind of rapid fire-ish, so we don't run too late with this. But if we kind of matched up in pairs each matchup, and then the other 2 people pick their winner,
Okay.
might be fun.
Who we going first?
Who's going against who?
Let's say, well, the first 2 to go in were me and Casey. So John, Kendall, who do you guys think? Who would you take in myself and Casey's teams?
Man, that'd be a really interesting game.
Would be.
Who would you
it's
take in
very-
each individual matchup?
In each individual, I mean, I would take Dame over CP, probably Harden over Clay, but Kawhi over Tatum, and then Siakam and Jokic is a push. So I guess Casey then.
Fair enough.
Yeah, get out of here, Drew.
I mean, there's only one ball.
That is the thing.
I don't know. I feel like CP3 and Jokic would be so dominant together. Like, imagine the pick and
So
roll.
unfair.
That's a good call.
That is
I think
really
I
unfair.
might lean Drews, but I mean, obviously Dame, Jokic, and Harden would be. I think I think I would go with Drews. I really like that CP3 and Jokic, along with great defense from Clay and Kawhi.
I don't know, man. If you have Dame and Harden that are both hot on the same day, you're kind of just toast. Like, there's not much you can do about that.
That's true. That's
Well,
true.
Yeah.
How about John and Kendall, Casey? If we take kind of running it, can you see the chat, Casey, on your phone?
I can't, but I can. Yeah. So just rattle it off real quick.
Yeah. So we got John with CP, Clay, Jimmy, Draymond, and Jokic, and then Kendall's Dame, Clay, Tatum, Draymond, and Kat. I'm taking John.
I'm taking
sure.
the first one.
I'm
Yeah.
taking John. I think Clay pushes. Obviously, in a winner takes all, I take Jimmy over Tatum just because of the edge.
Yeah.
Draymond pushes, and John has Jokic, and Kendall has Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think Towns can guard Jokic.
Yeah. I Cat is good. I mean, obviously he's really good. I've just never been a huge.
Me either.
I just would take Jokic every day of the week.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go, John and Casey. What do we got? So we've got
Now that would be a fun game because it's team defense versus team offense.
so for,
Good offense always beats good defense.
so Casey's got Dame, Harden, Tatum, Siakam, Jokic, and John has Steph, Clay, Butler, Giannis, and oh man.
And then John's got CP.
You're right. Oh yeah, I'm looking at
Oh, you're looking at Kendall's.
I'm looking at Kendall's fake one, at Kendall's burner.
Kendall's burner is really good though.
Yeah, I was like, wait, there's a team with Steph, Clay, Butler, Giannis. That's really good.
You're like, I picked that one, guys.
Right.
All right, buckling down. That's so close.
That's a tough one.
Because the thing is
real
my
tough.
team's like I don't know if my team has enough offense to be completely honest.
Remind me
Yeah.
again, you've got Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, Clay, Jimmy, Draymond, and Jokic. I'm kind of scared of my shooting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think
I
I would.
think-
I'm sorry, Casey's.
I think I slightly lean Casey because of the option of Jokic passing to Damon Harden is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just absurd. Yeah.
And like
I
I
also-
think you can make Siakam into such a good cutter with that.
Yeah.
Why
No,
not?
absolutely.
Oh yeah, with Jokic.
Yeah, John's defense is so. I'm looking at the wrong one again. Still, John's defense with CP, Jimmy, and Draymond is so good.
It would be
But-
it would be a lot of fun to watch. Get some clinics out of that.
I just think
Yeah.
Casey's team
Too
has
much
more guys that would.
firepower.
I think if it's clutch late in the game, that he has more guys that can just go get it.
You don't think Draymond can go get a bucket?
Oh, what's he averaging? Like 4.5 points this year?
He's going to be the first.
Dame-
He's going to set a record in some like really obscure like stat like that. Like he's like the lowest points per game to lead his team in rebounds and assists or something like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's obviously really good. But like I never
Yeah.
realized two of my teammates were arguing about this like last year, the year before, about how if he wasn't on the Warriors, he wouldn't have been an all-star. Like because he averaged like I don't know. I think it was like third, but like I think the most points he averaged in a season was like 14 or
Probably that sounds about
or
right.
something like
It's so
that.
tough. He's so valuable, but he shoots like he's wearing
yeah.
a backpack.
Right.
Oh, his shot is disgusting. It's so ugly.
Yeah. How about what's the other matchup? Myself and Kendall.
I think me and you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So me, it's CP, Clay, Kawhi, Siakam, Jokic, and Kendall's Dame, Clay, Tatum,
Dame.
Draymond, Cat.
Ooh.
Ooh, I think I'm going Drew. Sorry, Kendall.
I think I might.
Biggest
Yeah.
right now.
Well, we'll get John's analysis another time.
I think you picked me, guys.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you're back.
I picked Drew.
All right, and so finally rounding it out, so it would be me and John. So CP, Clay, Kawhi, Siakam, and Jokic against CP, Clay, Jimmy, Draymond, Jokic. So the only wash is basically you're comparing Jimmy and Draymond against Kawhi and Siakam is what you're doing with ours.
Oh, I'm going. Ooh,
That's
I think I'm
real
going
close.
Kawhi and Siakam.
I think I would too, even though I'm not picking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going
definitely.
Kawhi Siakam
Oh,
for sure.
for sure. I agree, John. Well, I think
he may not come back this.
but that's okay because now is it John and Casey now?
I think we already did that.
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, I
went
think we
through them
did.
all.
I think
I
that's
think
it.
I think we compared everybody.
We did.
I
Okay. I
think-
think we
yeah.
might be
You're
missing.
Your team. I think your team won, Drew.
I think so. I will not disagree. I don't know for sure, but we'll go with that for sure.
We should post our teams on IG afterwards, and then we can have the
Yeah, we'll-
have the fan.
Once
There
the
you go.
episode drops. Well, we'll close it out with this because we didn't ask Casey this last time. I just realized. So we started asking this question to all our guests, normally to kick off our episodes, but this is how we will sign off for today. Again, we started doing this, Casey. I think actually the week after you came on.
Okay.
Best
Yeah.
meal you've eaten and worst meal you've eaten on the road in your career.
Oh, best meal. Oh man, I could definitely go. There's a few.
You got the
It can be
advantage, you're up.
college or professional.
Yeah.
Man, okay. In college, we went. Whenever we played in Vegas, we always would go to like. Ooh, actually, there's another one that came to mind. Okay, well, it's either I have to pick one, there's two. If
Go for it.
all right, well, I'll just say the two were there's one. We went to a steakhouse, like a Mastro's in Vegas. So they had like great like seafood platters and steaks and stuff. That was pretty solid. And then when we won the Pac-12 championship, my sophomore year, we went to. Have you heard of Fogo de Chao?
I
I
have
think
not.
so.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I
a
haven't been
Brazilian
there, but
steakhouse. Yeah. So honestly,
Oh.
Fogo is probably my favorite.
Let's get just you saying Brazilian steakhouse. I agree,
Sounds-
and I've never.
Yeah. Fogo,
Yeah.
Fogo was probably the best the best meal I've had. And just because it was all you can eat, and I just
Yeah.
love food. So
I-
worst meal. Oh man, actually, to be honest, probably Popeyes.
Ooh,
which I might get like a lot of flack for that.
very
but,
divisive.
I might get a lot of flack for that, but I honestly like I'm not a huge like I'd rather have like I like Chick-fil-A better or Cane's better than
Oh,
you guys don't
Cane's
have
is
Cane's.
so-
You
There's
haven't
one in
had Cane's.
Portland now. Yeah, they added
Oh,
one
there
to
is?
the Washington Square Mall. Yeah,
They did.
Seriously?
Okay.
it's
I
so
gotta-
good. Raising Cane's is incredible.
I gotta
Yeah.
get
Gosh.
back. See,
No.
I was debating this with my dad because he actually likes Popeyes more, and I like Chick-fil-A a little. I think they're both really good.
Uh-huh.
I like Chick-fil-A a little more. I think.
I think I do too.
Sure. Yeah, or maybe Subway. I mean, we had Subway. That might have been the worst meal. I guess
R.I.P. to
if
Drew.
Subway, if Subway's the worst meal we have, then we're not living too bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
Although I have had to cut back my Subway after an article came out that was like someone did like an I don't know why a journalist took the time to do this, but they did like an investigative report and found out that there's so much sugar in Subway bread that they legally
Really?
do not consider it bread.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I kind of stopped for a while and started like I was like because like I used to get it like if I was out on a work trip, like that's all I would get was like
Right.
unless I like had it like I had just gotten paid or something. Because
Sure.
newsflash for our listeners, journalists do not get paid a lot. So like unless I had just gotten paid and like I was in like a new spot and like wanted to try something, I'd try it. But if I was just in some random podunk town or whatever, I'd always get
Yeah.
Subway. But then after that, I was kind of like,
Ooh, that sounds pretty nasty, actually, when I
Yeah.
think about it. Like, just
That's
eating
weird.
sugar.
Yeah. so like
bad about that spicy Italian I just had 2 days ago
Yeah.
now, right about now.
I still eat it every now and again. I just keep in mind that like load up on the veggies to at least maybe cancel it out
offset.
a
You
bit.
gotta offset a little bit.
Offset the bread.
Yeah,
man.
offset the bread.
Gotta get some fiber.
That reminds me of I'll send us out with maybe the saddest headline I've ever seen today. I actually put it on my own personal Twitter of like kind of roasting a little bit. But you can follow us on Spotify, YouTube. I kind of blanked for a second there. Sorry, guys. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Yball Starters. To close us out, stay tuned. We'll put this episode up soon. To close us out, I will share the worst headline I heard today, and it's not basketball related at all. But it's from The Guardian US. I'm pretty sure they were doing it to kind of roast this celebrity, but all it said was, Gwyneth Paltrow broke down and ate bread during quarantine. What was your lowest point?
That's pretty comical.
Oh, man.
So we all
I
send
don't
our
know, that's pretty
thoughts and prayers to Gwyneth Paltrow in this trying time, and we will see you all next week. This has been another episode of the Y Ball Starters.
Peace.